Iran's foreign minister today said he's confident that Iran will be able to complete a final nuclear agreement with world powers by the end of July. That's the 6-month deadline date set when Iran agreed to stop processing high levels of uranium in return for an easing of Western sanctions. The Iranian official also said he's not worried about the possibility of Congress imposing new sanctions either, because President Obama promised to veto any such legislation. That's the latest from the Iranian side. The New York Times today reported a secret international effort backed by the United States to rid Libya of its lethal stockpile of chemical weapons has been completed after experts destroyed the last batch of Muammar Gaddafi's arsenal in a remote Libyan desert last week. A similar effort to destroy Syria's chemical weapons lagging far behind schedule. And the United States and European Union reportedly working on an aid package for Ukraine, which is reeling from 2 months of massive anti-government protests. Ukraine's president rejected a trade deal with the European Union back in November. That set off nationwide demonstrations, and instead he accepted a $15 billion loan package from Russia to keep Ukraine in, if you will, the sphere of Russian influence. That set off the demonstration. Secretary of State Kerry admitted the Obama administration's policy is failing and needs to change. That, according to Kerry's former Senate colleagues, John McCain and Lindsey Graham. They attended a bipartisan closed-door meeting with the secretary over the weekend. Joining us now, Fox News strategic analyst, Lieutenant Colonel Ralph Peters. Ralph, good to have you with us. Let's start with this bizarre dance that the Obama administration is conducting on the Ukraine, initially threatening sanctions against the Ukraine in their expression, to stabilize the Ukraine, now joining with Europe to try to do something to bring Ukraine into the European Union sphere, which is what those demonstrators have wanted all along. What's going on?
Well, first of all of your viewers have to understand that Ukraine's fate truly matters. Putin wants it back in the Russian fold. And if he can grab Ukraine again, and wait until after the Olympics, he's going to try. It adds 40 million people. The Black Sea pushes Russia's borders hundreds of miles southwest toward Europe. So for Putin, this is the grand strategic prize. For Obama and the administration, it's been an annoyance. They don't want to fuss with Putin now. They got enough on their plate, blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, the people of Ukraine have for months now have been out in sub-zero temperature. This is their Valley Forge, right, freezing to try to get a grip on freedom and join Europe.
And the initial reaction, as I just said, by the administration, utterly the wrong response to that kind of popular expression of popular will. They have at least adapted to new circumstances. Syria, that process goes on, resuming in 2 weeks. What are we likely to see happen?
Well, when Secretary Kerry, in that closed-door session you referenced, said that the administration's policy on Syria has failed, he committed one of the few unforgivable sins in Washington. He told the truth. Now, it's no secret to any outside observer that we don't even have a Syria policy. We have Syria rhetoric. Obama got hit by the bait and switch and grabbed it, where he went for forget about the deaths, forget about the massacres, we'll just get the chemical weapons out of there. That's a great deal. And now the Syrians won't even give up the chemical weapons, and we're sitting back rubbing our guts.
What are Senators McCain and Graham doing in this particular chapter of what is Obama's foreign policy in the region?
Well, they certainly have been strong on intervention for a very, very long time. Initially, I was as well, until the jihadis, the Islamist al-Qaeda type forces, mostly took over the opposition. But there is still the problem of the massacres. that are ongoing, committed, by the way, by the jihadis as well. And now, Lou, we really just, what do you do about it? No good answers, but if Syria doesn't give up their chemical weapons, it's time for airstrikes.
You know, Ralph, you and I think, agree on on most things. But I have to say that our adventures in the Middle East have to end at some point. And this seems like a very good place to end it, because there seems to be no good resolution awaiting airstrikes, intervention on our part, or any more bluster from this administration. I don't think the world can put up with any more bellicose bravado from a president who has famously said various leaders should go, and two of them have, but the rest, they are in place.
Well, my heart is with you, Lou, but my head says that the Obama administration, the president specifically, has made so many hollow threats at this point that at some point we need some action to show that somebody in the United States is serious. And so that's the realpolitik side. But as you know, at the end of the day, it's not a bad thing to have our enemies in Syria killing each other.
I think that is a notably, attractive strategic option, as they would say.
It's a shame that people are suffering.
Yes, it is. A bigger shame that ours would be.
Send in Samantha Power.
As you wish, Colonel. Colonel Ralph Peters, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
The numbers are in, and last night's Super Bowl was a blowout in more ways than one, delivering the biggest television audience in history, and you thought being lopsided would affect the audience. Not at all. More than 111 million people tuned in for Super Bowl 48, beating out the previous record set in 2011. That game between the New England Patriots and New York Giants. Who won that game? Who won that game? The halftime shows starring pop singer Bruno Mars and the Red Hot Chili Peppers, also setting a record, 150.